I heard this story from my uncle. He used to work as a pizza delivery guy, and once, he had delivered pizza to a guy who was fully naked and live streaming. Pizza delivery, hotel workers, and housekeepers of Reddit, what is your NSFW story? What would you rate it out of 10? What's up, Pretendo? Thanks for coming to another story time with your favorite narrator, Andrew. It's so good to see you. Can you do me a favor, bro? Can you like the video and subscribe? I wouldn't want to miss any more story times with you. If you do, I'll send you another stimulus check. Let's get into the video. Probably not what you came here to see, but I used to work at the front desk of a crappy, no pun intended, hotel. One day the housekeepers found a room where the occupants had taken a steamy number 2 in the tub and turned the heat up to 90 before checking out. It was not safe to work there. I was a housekeeper, it was a gross job. I came across used condoms, sex toys, poo, pee. The final straw came when someone had jacked off and left the load on top of the cover. I went to change the bed sheets and I put my hand right in it. It was a 0-10, definitely wouldn't recommend. I quit soon after. Used to do bicycle deliveries in the French Quarter in New Orleans. Frequently made deliveries to strippers while they're working. Sometimes you get a little behind-the-scenes view of the happenings between customers and strippers. Once handed food directly to a stripper while she was getting finger blasted, and she proceeded to hand me a tip from her bosom, as though nothing was happening. Pizza delivery for 7 years. Fewer than 10 times did I see any noteworthy degree of nudity. Usually women who'd answer the door in a towel or topless, but it wasn't the opening scene to porn that you're picturing. But once, I delivered pizza to an orgy in progress. If that's not a 10, I don't know what is, except that I didn't join in. I worked front desk for a small hotel in a small town that had 8 of those fantasy suites, where the rooms were designed to look like different things. Igloo, cave, casino, honeymoon suite, etc. There was so much NSFW stuff going on there that the housekeepers just told me to lie to myself when I was doing the laundry. Blood on the middle of the sheet? Clearly someone had a nosebleed. Unidentifiable stain? Had to be a food spill. It was the only way to get through the days. Thank goodness I never worked third shift. Those are the employees that dealt with the most NSFW stuff, mostly thanks to noise complaints. I delivered room service at a nice hotel back in 89 to 90. One night I get a delivery for a bottle of high-end scotch to the penthouse suite. Great sale as I get automatic 17% on all orders. So the door opens and I get invited in. There are about 20 young Japanese men in the room, and they have one of the guys pinned down on the bed and are wailing away on his bare feet with a shoe. I see this and don't know whether to laugh on call security. They see the stunned look on my face and reassure me that this is a bachelor party tradition where they are from. Sounds reasonable to me, so I go about my way. On my way out, several of the guys discreetly slid 10s and 20s into my hand as tips. After a couple more deliveries that night, I walked with over $250 from that room alone. 10 out of 10 would be recommended. I was a housekeeper at a hotel for a few years. I lived in an expensive city, so rent was high, but the pay covered the basics. One day my boss came up to my cart and warned me not to start cleaning a particular room until it was clear. It's not unheard of for guests to request late checkouts or stay an extra day, but I've never heard someone talk about a cleaning delay in such terms before. Then after 10-ish minutes, a 30-something white male and a paramedic jog over to the room I was warned about. I didn't think it was my business to start prodding, but my first thought was, oh duck, dead body. I've heard stories from other hotel staff, it's rare but it happens. This time, the situation was kinda sorta worse than that. Elderly Vietnam vet rented a room with the sole intention of killing himself, called his son to say goodbye, and son called for an ambulance. He had already taken a crap ton of pills, but his body rejected them, and he'd puked and crap all over the room. They escorted the elderly man out of the room, there were tears streaming down his cheeks, and he wouldn't stop apologizing for the mess. It took 2 hours to clean what I could, we had to call a specialist service in to get the rest. I wasn't angry this time, it was one of the saddest things I'd ever seen. 8 out of 10. There was a guy who ordered the same way every week. "You know who this is, Gim the usual," and then hangs up. His name was Ron, and his usual was a large 14 sausage pizza burned. Like theirs well done, where we make the cheese a uniform brown, but he wanted it further than that. Not literally black dust, but really dark all over. It was always delivery, and he tipped very well. Our drivers were drivers and order takers only, they didn't work other positions. I worked the oven and would only go on deliveries if we were way behind on orders. One day in December I get the call from Ron, and I say, "I know your address, but I've never been there, is it easy to find?" He replies, "It's the one with 2 reindeer ducking in the front yard." So I'm driving around these cookie-cutter townhomes that all look the same, and sure enough, there's one with a decorative reindeer mounting another out front. I walk up to the door, this super tan Italian guy in a purple robe and leopard print briefs, because his robe was wide open, answers the door, shouts at me, "You must be new. Here you go," and throws a 20 at me. Bill was $13, this was in 2001. Only a 2/10 in terms of NSFW stuff, but man, that was a memorable delivery. Seeing this man in person who I'd cooked pizza for every week for 2 years was like seeing a centaur or unicorn. 10/10 as a customer though. Predictable, direct, kept it quick, tipped well. I was a delivery driver for 8 years, and I have enough stories to write a book. Every family reunion I would tell stories from the previous year's experiences. Family used to say I should write a book. I'll give you a quick overview of just some of the stories. Even to this day my family will bring up stories I told them, but I forgot about it until they brought it up, lol. I'm just typing without caring about spelling and grammar. So here goes. Forgot to bring a 2-liter of Sprite to these chicks getting ready to go clubbing. Went back to pizza shop, owner said bring them 2 to say sorry. Knocked on door, she peeked her head around the door with her obviously naked body behind the door. Handed her 1 2-liter. She reached around, showed me a boob while grabbing the first 2-liter. Tried not to look, but you know, even without looking directly at something you get a nice view. Then I said, "I actually brought 2. So instead of her putting that one down and grabbing another, she just buck naked in front of me holding 2 2-liters, showing me the world. The random crazy story doesn't stop there. I head back to the shop and tell the coworkers what just happened, we have a good laugh, and boss says head to next delivery. I get to a different hotel and it's a dude that answers, 2 dudes with 2 women sitting on some chairs in the room, and I hear her telling the guys about her delivery driver. I laughed and said, "Hey, I just delivered to you. You look different with clothes on." We laughed. Easily my most memorable delivery. Used to deliver to a nudist. 50-ish. Pretty saggy, had no cares in the world that I seen her. It wasn't the greatest, but yeah. Delivered to a woman passed out on pills. Her like maybe 5 to 6-year-old pays for the pizza and just does his own thing. Pill bottles all over the living room table. I called the cops. No clue what came of it. Felt obligated. Delivered to 4 dudes. 3 of them rushed outside butt naked when I got there. 4th dude locked the door laughing. One of the guys said we asked for the female driver. One of their friends. Pretty funny. I asked who had the cash and where was it. Delivered to a poker game with a bunch of 60-year-olds or so. Richer group of guys that bought out the top of a hotel. The 10 men were playing poker out in the hall. The wives were at the other end of the hall, all in little going out to dance gowns. Old man told me to drop the pizzas off at the table and collect the money from his wife. Found the wife and she had a $50 tip for me if I got it out from between her obvious fake tits, popping out of her gown with my teeth. Was young, too embarrassed, just grabbed it and said thanks. Delivered to a bridesmaid's party. Women were like the pizzas here. Just kidding, it's the stripper. Pulling up my shirt and a couple girls laughing, rubbing their hands on my chest. Super embarrassing, I'm not a dancer, and shy. Been tipped pills. Been tipped weed. Delivered to 2 people having sex. Seen a couple dicks. Delivered to a highway patrol or sheriff convention. Off-duty police officer says come on in. Have a beer with us. Sorry I can't. He says want one for the road? Lol. Yep, let me get right on that. Delivered to an off-duty cop's house that reeked of pot. Delivered to a maybe 15-year-old girl or so that answered the door, and as I was handing her the pizza her uncle said, "Hannah, show him your tits, you might get a discount." I only know it was her uncle cause she turned embarrassed and said Uncle Tom ... or some other name. Easy way to make some extra tip is when you smell weed, just breath in and say smells good in here. That's always met with "Ah, he's a cool dude." Delivered to a meth head or tweaker or something. Been met with a gun in someone's hand. He constantly looked out his windows the whole time I was trying to get the delivery done. I'm 34 now and I delivered from 18 to 26 or so. At a resort party vacation town. Osage Beach, Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Party Cove type people riddled this town, so I've seen my fair share of crap. And lots more I'm forgetting. Delivered to a guy that said on the phone when he ordered, "Get here in time, we have 2 chicks naked swimming in the pool." Got there just as they were out walking to the hotel room. Once I got in the room, the guy said, "Oh girls, drop your towels and give him a hug." They both hugging me, both with one leg propped up around me like Captain Morgan. The giant bottle of Ginger empty in the sink. One couple goes into one of the spare rooms and starts ducking a dude. Lights on, door wide open. The other girl just starts playing with her little puppy split-legged on the living room floor right in front of me. 2 guys behind me just watching the girl. Really awkward. Random crap happens to delivery drivers. Trust. I used to make $200 to $300 in cash every weekend night and $100 to $200 every weekday in my town. It was pretty nice at 18 with no cares to go to college or learn a trade at the time. And yet the amount of girls that would come down from KC and STL to be dock girls making 30 to 40K in a summertime job, just showing their bikinis off and pumping gas for boys with boats. Making hella tips. Delivered to the Girls Gone Wild bus. Had multiple $100 tips. 250 biggest ever. But that was like 60 pies. 2 or 3 trips. Once delivered to a hotel and while in the elevator a guy said, "I'll give you $80 right now for that pizza." 3 pies. Ticket was like 40. Gave him the pizza, collected the cash, called my boss and said I need 3 pies now. Delivered the pies again like 20 later with no issues. Once collected on a 110 bill. Drunk woman pays with 2 $100 bills. I think she thought it was a 100 and a 10. Started to walk away, had a guilty conscience and turned around and knocked. As soon as I did I knew I made a mistake. Should have kept walking. Told her what happened. She gave me 100, a 10 and a 5. I was like, "Bitch, you could have gave me a 100 and a 50 and saved 50. FFS. Delivered to the hospital and as I'm up in the hospital, I come out to find a guy waiting for his right inside my car looking for my tips. I know it's my fault, I had windows down and a couple pies in the back. I kept my tips in my middle console thing. But I like, dude, WTF. Get out of there. He was like, "I'm hungry, come on, fo." Once delivered a pizza to a club and as I'm going to leave a guy runs up asking for a ride. I'm not supposed to give rides, he says, "Hell, give a tip." I give him a ride. Pretty close to the shop anyways. Gives me a 100 for my troubles. On my way back from a delivery in the rain, I see a young guy like 18 or so walking down the road. I stop and ask if he wants a ride. I can take him as far as my shop and let him use the phone. He is crying. Says thanks. Tells me his 3 buddies left him because he pissed them off or something. He was from STL. So hours away with no phone and no help, no friends. Felt really bad for the bloke. Delivered to a club as it was closing. As I walk back to my car, a super drunk guy is carrying one of my pizzas off in between houses. I'm yelling to give that pizza back. A group of other people walking back to their condos start to help me and call him a dick and stuff. I get the pizza back, untouched, unattended, unbitten. Lol. Night goes on as normal. Delivered to a stripper. I think. She was wearing a shirt and nothing else. With the name of a local strip club. She paid me in nothing but ones. Total like 40. I'm now in back guy and sit in people's basements 1 hour or so and get to know people's lifestyles intimately. 1,000 plus basements a year. Some of my stories are awesome. If I can manage to link some of the videos and pics of the crap I find, I will. Lots of NSFW stuff. Some of the crap is awkward. If it's unordinary, I take a video or pic. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.